Prince William just dropped a bombshell that has Meghan Markle absolutely seething behind closed doors in Montecito. Sources close to the Duchess of Sussex claim she is furious, devastated, and convinced that her brother-in-law deliberately orchestrated his recent Apple TV interview to steal her spotlight at the worst possible moment. We're talking about a full-blown meltdown. Insiders whisper, complete with tearful phone calls, emergency strategy sessions with her publicity team, and accusations flying that William has crossed a line she never saw coming. The interview itself seemed innocent enough on the surface. Prince William sat down in a cozy pub setting, pint in hand, discussing the future of the monarchy with remarkable candidness. He talked about modernization, about streamlining the royal family, about removing what some are calling the deadwood from the institution. It was relaxed. It was charming. It was everything the public wants to see from their future king. But according to palace insiders, Meghan saw something entirely different when she watched that footage. She allegedly saw a calculated attack disguised as casual conversation. Word on the street suggests Meghan spent hours dissecting every single sentence William uttered, convinced that his timing was no accident whatsoever. She had been quietly laying the groundwork for her own carefully orchestrated comeback, sources reveal, planning projects and appearances designed to rebuild her public image after years of controversy and declining popularity. Then William swoops in with this interview, dominating headlines around the world, reminding everyone why he is the golden boy of the royal family, while she continues to struggle for relevance across the pond. But here's where it gets even more explosive. Insiders claim Meghan believes William's talk about rationalizing the family and removing negative influences was coded language aimed directly at her and Harry. She allegedly told friends that William is trying to erase them from royal history, to paint them as the troublemakers who need to be cut loose so the monarchy can thrive without their drama and constant headlines. The accusation, according to sources close to the situation, is that William timed this interview precisely to overshadow anything Meghan had planned, to remind the world that he holds all the power while she fights for scraps of attention from the Montecito mansion. Reports are surfacing that Meghan's reaction has been nothing short of volcanic. She allegedly feels betrayed, blindsided, and determined to fight back against what she sees as William's latest move in an ongoing war for public sympathy and media dominance. The question everyone is asking now is simple but loaded with implications. Will Meghan take this lying down, or is she about to launch a counter-offensive that could shatter what little remains of the relationship between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family? Let's break down exactly what William said that has Meghan allegedly spiraling into panic mode. The Apple TV interview wasn't just another royal appearance. It was a masterclass in strategic communication, and palace insiders claim that every single word was carefully chosen to send messages that only certain people would fully understand. Meghan, according to sources, understood those messages loud and clear, and she did not like what she heard. William spoke openly about the need to rationalize the royal family, to make it leaner and more focused on the work that truly matters. He talked about cutting away the distractions, the controversies, the people who take attention away from the charitable endeavors and public service that should be at the heart of the monarchy. On the surface, it sounded like common-sense modernization, but royal watchers immediately began speculating about who exactly William was referring to when he mentioned those distractions and controversies. Sources close to the Prince of Wales reveal that he has been privately frustrated for years about the way Harry and Meghan continue to dominate headlines, often for all the wrong reasons. Their bombshell interviews, their Netflix documentaries, their constant revelations about private family matters have reportedly driven William to the brink of exasperation. He allegedly believes they are damaging the institution he will one day lead, and this interview was his way of publicly drawing a line in the sand without actually naming names. But it wasn't just what William said that has Meghan allegedly fuming. It was how he said it. The casual pub setting, the relaxed demeanor, the easy charm that came across in every frame. William looked like a man completely comfortable in his own skin, completely confident about his future role, completely unbothered by whatever drama might be unfolding across the Atlantic. Industry insiders suggest that this effortless confidence is precisely what drives Meghan crazy, because it highlights the stark contrast between William's rising popularity and her own struggles to maintain relevance. Behind closed doors, palace courtiers are reportedly thrilled with how the interview landed. William's approval ratings have soared, with polls showing the British public overwhelmingly supportive of his vision for a streamlined monarchy. The coverage has been almost universally positive, with commentators praising his measured approach and clear-headed thinking about the institution's future. Everything Meghan allegedly wanted for herself, William achieved in one carefully orchestrated hour of television. The timing of the interview has also raised eyebrows among those who follow royal dynamics closely. Meghan had been laying groundwork for several announcements, sources claim, positioning herself for a major re-entry into public consciousness. Then William's interview dropped like a bomb, sucking all the oxygen out of the media landscape and leaving Meghan's plans in tatters. Coincidence? According to insiders who know how the palace operates, absolutely not. This was strategic warfare disguised as a friendly chat over beer. The moment that interview aired, Meghan's world allegedly exploded into chaos. Sources close to the Duchess reveal she immediately recognized what William was doing, and her reaction was swift, emotional, and absolutely furious. Insiders claim she watched the entire interview multiple times, taking notes, analyzing every gesture, every word choice, every subtle implication that she believes was directed at her and Harry. This wasn't just casual viewing. This was a woman allegedly convinced she was witnessing a calculated takedown orchestrated by her brother-in-law. According to reports surfacing from those in Meghan's inner circle, she spent the following hours on the phone with her closest advisors, her voice reportedly shaking with anger and disbelief. The word being whispered in Hollywood circles is that Meghan felt blindsided, despite knowing that William has never been her biggest fan. She allegedly believed there was an unspoken agreement that both sides would maintain a cold but civil distance, focusing on their own paths without directly undermining each other. William's interview, in her view, shattered that fragile peace. Palace insiders whisper that Meghan's immediate instinct was to respond publicly, to issue a statement or orchestrate her own media moment that would shift the narrative back in her favor. Her team allegedly scrambled to put together options, drafting responses that ranged from dignified silence to full-throated counterattacks. But here's where the situation gets even messier. Sources suggest that Meghan quickly realized she was trapped in an impossible position. Responding too aggressively would make her look petty and vindictive. Saying nothing would allow William's narrative to dominate unchallenged. Behind the scenes, reports indicate that Meghan began reaching out to friendly journalists and media contacts, attempting to plant stories that would undermine William's golden boy image, or at least provide some balance to the overwhelmingly positive coverage he was receiving. The buzz in royal circles is that she wanted to remind people about William's own controversies, his own moments of tension with the press, anything that could take some shine off his carefully polished public persona. But those efforts allegedly fell flat, with most outlets more interested in celebrating William's vision than dredging up old stories about the future king. What really stung, according to insiders, was the casual ease with which William dominated the news cycle. Meghan has worked tirelessly to craft her public image, to control her narrative, to position herself as a modern icon of independence and strength. Yet William accomplished in one pub conversation what she has been struggling to achieve for years. He looked relatable, authentic, and genuinely committed to public service, all while subtly distancing himself from the drama that has surrounded his brother and sister-in-law. Sources close to the situation reveal that Meghan allegedly told confidants she feels like William is playing a game she didn't even know had started, and he is winning by every possible measure. The frustration, the sense of being outmaneuvered, the realization that her carefully laid plans might be crumbling, it all allegedly came crashing down in those first hours after the interview aired. This latest episode represents just one battle in what insiders are calling an all-out war for public attention and sympathy between Meghan Markle and Prince William. The stakes have never been higher, and sources close to both camps reveal that every move is now being calculated with surgical precision. Meghan allegedly sees herself fighting for survival in a media landscape that seems increasingly hostile to her narrative, while William appears to be effortlessly ascending to new heights of popularity and respect. The spotlight war has been raging for years, but royal watchers say it reached a boiling point with William's interview. Meghan had been working quietly behind the scenes, sources claim, developing projects designed to showcase her as a serious entrepreneur and philanthropist rather than just a controversial royal exile. She allegedly believed that keeping a lower profile would allow the public to cool down, to forget some of the more damaging controversies, to give her a fresh start. Then William reminded everyone exactly who holds the real power in this family dynamic. Industry insiders suggest that Meghan's team went into emergency mode the moment they realized how massive the coverage of William's interview would be. Calls were allegedly made to publicists, to friendly media outlets, to anyone who might help shift the narrative or at least provide some counter-programming. But here's the brutal reality that sources say Meghan is facing. William doesn't need to fight for attention. It comes to him naturally because of his position, his popularity, and his genuine connection with the British public. Meghan, on the other hand, is fighting an uphill battle from California, thousands of miles away from the institution she once belonged to. The contrast couldn't be more stark, and palace insiders whisper that William is fully aware of his advantage. He allegedly knows that every time he appears in public, every time he gives an interview, every time he simply does his job as a working royal, he is reinforcing the narrative that he is the responsible one, the dedicated one, the future of the monarchy. Meghan's alleged attempts to compete with that narrative are reportedly falling flat because the public has largely made up their minds about who they support in this ongoing family drama. Behind closed doors, sources reveal that Meghan's frustration stems from a deep belief that the playing field is fundamentally unfair. She allegedly feels that William has the entire weight of the royal institution behind him, countless advisors and resources, automatic media coverage for everything he does. Meanwhile, she is trying to build something from scratch in Hollywood, where loyalty is fleeting and success depends on constant reinvention and relevance. The spotlight she once commanded as a working royal now feels impossibly distant, and William's interview allegedly served as a painful reminder of everything she walked away from. Reports are surfacing that Meghan's team is now scrambling to develop a response strategy that won't backfire spectacularly. The question keeping them up at night, insiders claim, is simple but terrifying. How do you compete with the future king when every move you make seems to dig the hole deeper? Prince Harry finds himself in an absolutely impossible position, and sources close to the situation reveal he is being torn apart by conflicting loyalties that grow more painful with each passing day. On one side stands his wife, allegedly furious and demanding unwavering support against what she sees as William's calculated attack. On the other side is his brother, the future king, who insiders say Harry still loves deeply despite years of tension and bitter public feuding. The pressure, according to those who know him, is becoming unbearable. Palace insiders whisper that Harry watched William's interview with mixed emotions, that he struggled to hide even from Meghan. Sources claim there was a part of him that felt genuine pride, seeing his older brother speak so confidently about the future of the monarchy, discussing plans and vision with the kind of authority that comes naturally to someone born to be king. But that pride allegedly clashed violently with the loyalty he owes to Meghan, who was sitting beside him dissecting every word as a personal attack on their family and their choices. The word coming out of Montecito suggests that Meghan expects Harry to be outraged on her behalf, to see William's interview through her eyes as a deliberate attempt to humiliate and marginalize them. But friends of Harry reportedly say he is exhausted by the constant conflict, weary of being caught between two people he loves who cannot seem to find any common ground whatsoever. He allegedly recognizes that William wasn't lying in that interview. The monarchy does need streamlining. Changes do need to happen, and perhaps, just perhaps, he and Meghan are part of the problem William is trying to solve. But expressing those thoughts to Meghan is apparently out of the question. Sources close to the couple reveal that any hint Harry might be sympathizing with William's perspective triggers explosive arguments that can last for hours. Meghan allegedly views any wavering from Harry as the ultimate betrayal, a sign that he is being manipulated by the same institution that drove them out of Britain in the first place. The pressure she reportedly puts on him to remain united against William is intense and unrelenting. Behind the scenes, royal insiders claim that Harry has been making quiet inquiries about potential paths to reconciliation with his brother. Nothing formal, nothing that would reach Meghan's ears, just careful feelers put out through trusted intermediaries to gauge whether William might ever be open to repairing their shattered relationship. The response he allegedly received was devastating in its simplicity. William is open to reconciliation, sources say, but only if Harry is willing to set boundaries with Meghan and stop the constant public attacks on the royal family. That condition, insiders reveal, is one Harry knows he cannot meet without destroying his marriage. The tragic irony, according to those watching this family drama unfold, is that Harry probably agrees with much of what William said in that interview. He just cannot admit it out loud without facing consequences at home, that he apparently is not prepared to handle. So he remains trapped, silent, and increasingly miserable. There's one issue that has become the symbolic flashpoint of this entire feud, and it's something most people wouldn't think twice about. The royal website still lists Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in the line of succession, still acknowledges their titles, still treats them as part of the official royal family structure. And according to sources close to Prince William, this single fact drives him absolutely crazy. He allegedly sees it as a glaring contradiction that undermines everything he is trying to accomplish with his vision of a streamlined, focused monarchy. Palace insiders reveal that William has been pushing behind the scenes for months, possibly years, to have Harry and Meghan removed from the official succession page, or at least significantly downgraded in how they are presented. He allegedly argues that you cannot have it both ways. You cannot step back from royal duties, move to California, sign lucrative deals with Netflix and Spotify, launch public attacks on the institution, and still maintain your place on the official royal website as if nothing has changed. The hypocrisy of it, sources say, infuriates him. But here's where the situation gets complicated, in ways that explain why this seemingly simple change hasn't happened yet. King Charles reportedly refuses to make the move, and his reasoning allegedly comes from a place of parental heartbreak, rather than strategic thinking. Sources close to the king reveal that he still holds out hope for eventual reconciliation with Harry, still believes that completely severing ties through something as symbolic as website removal would make that reconciliation impossible. He allegedly sees keeping Harry and Meghan on the site as leaving the door open, even if just a crack, for them to return to the fold someday. William, according to palace courtiers, views his father's position as emotionally driven weakness that is damaging the monarchy's credibility. He allegedly believes the public wants decisive action, clear boundaries, a signal that if you choose to leave and attack the institution, there are real consequences. Polling data seems to support William's position, with surveys showing overwhelming public support for removing the Sussexes from official royal structures. But King Charles holds the power, and insiders say he simply will not budge on this issue no matter how much pressure William applies. The irony that sources close to Meghan find particularly galling is that she apparently doesn't even want to be on that website anymore. Reports suggest she views it as a reminder of the institution she gladly left behind, a connection to a family that she believes never truly accepted her. But the fact that William wants her removed so desperately allegedly makes her dig in her heels, because giving him what he wants feels like admitting defeat in this ongoing power struggle. Behind the scenes, royal experts say this website battle represents something much bigger than a few lines of HTML code. It's about identity, about belonging, about who gets to define what the royal family means in the modern era. And right now, nobody seems willing to compromise, which means the stalemate continues while tensions escalate with each passing month. Hollywood is watching this royal drama unfold with the kind of fascination usually reserved for award season scandals, and the whispers coming out of the industry paint a devastating picture for Meghan Markle. Sources close to major studios and production companies reveal that her currency in Tinseltown has been steadily declining, and William's interview allegedly accelerated that downward spiral in ways she never anticipated. The brutal reality of Hollywood is simple. You're only as valuable as your last success and your current headlines, and right now Meghan's headlines are all about family feuds rather than professional triumphs. Industry insiders claim that Meghan had been working tirelessly to rebrand herself as a serious Hollywood player, someone who could command respect as a producer, entrepreneur, and influential voice rather than just a controversial former royal. She allegedly believed that distancing herself from constant royal drama would help that rebrand succeed. Then William's interview reminded everyone exactly where her fame comes from, and more importantly, it reminded everyone that she walked away from a position of real power and influence to chase Hollywood dreams that haven't materialized the way she hoped. The contrast between William's rising global statesman status and Meghan's struggles to maintain relevance is apparently the talk of industry parties and executive meetings. Sources reveal that producers and network executives are increasingly hesitant to attach themselves to Meghan's projects because the public perception has turned so negative. Every venture she launches gets scrutinized through the lens of her royal exit and ongoing family conflict, making it nearly impossible for her work to stand on its own merits. Meanwhile, William effortlessly commands international respect without even trying. Behind closed doors, Hollywood power players reportedly see William as someone they would love to work with if he ever stepped outside his royal role, which of course he never will. His natural charisma, his global recognition, his ability to connect with regular people while maintaining dignity and authority, these are qualities that translate beautifully to screen and media. Meghan possesses some of those same qualities, insiders acknowledge, but they're now buried under layers of controversy and public skepticism that make her a risky bet for anyone looking to develop successful content. Reports are surfacing that several of Meghan's planned projects have stalled or been quietly shelved as partners get cold feet about the association. The podcast that was supposed to revolutionize celebrity interviews? Gone. The Netflix content that was supposed to showcase her creative vision? Struggling to gain traction. The lifestyle brand that was supposed to establish her as the next Gwyneth Paltrow? Facing uphill battles at every turn. Meanwhile, William gives one interview and the world celebrates his wisdom and leadership. The most damaging whisper circulating through Hollywood circles, according to sources, is that Meghan made a catastrophic miscalculation when she left the royal family. She allegedly believed her fame would translate seamlessly into Hollywood success, that her story and her platform would be enough to build an empire. But the entertainment industry is littered with people who discovered too late that royal connections only take you so far when the public stops caring about your narrative. The numbers don't lie, and for Meghan Markle, those numbers paint an absolutely devastating picture that allegedly keeps her awake at night. Polling data from both sides of the Atlantic shows Prince William's approval ratings climbing to heights that would make any public figure envious, while Meghan's numbers continue their steady decline into territory that royal experts say may be impossible to recover from. This isn't just about popularity contests. This is about fundamental public trust and affection, and the gap between William and Meghan has reportedly become a chasm that grows wider with each passing month. Recent surveys in the United Kingdom show William's approval rating hovering around 70 to 75%, with particularly strong support among younger demographics who see him as a modern, relatable royal who genuinely cares about making a difference. His interview only boosted those numbers, with focus groups reportedly praising his authenticity and clear vision for the monarchy's future. Meanwhile, Meghan's approval rating in Britain has plummeted to the low teens, with some polls showing her favorability at barely 10%. The rejection could not be more complete or more brutal. But here's what allegedly hurts Meghan even more than the British numbers. Even in America, where she hoped to find a more sympathetic audience, her approval ratings have been sliding downward at an alarming rate. Sources close to the Duchess reveal that she genuinely believed Americans would embrace her story of breaking free from an oppressive institution, of choosing independence and authenticity over stuffy royal protocol. Instead, polling shows Americans are increasingly viewing her as ungrateful, attention-seeking, and disrespectful to a beloved institution that millions around the world admire. Social media sentiment tells an even harsher story that insiders say Meghan cannot ignore no matter how much her team tries to shield her from it. William's interview generated overwhelmingly positive reactions across platforms, with users praising everything from his casual demeanor to his thoughtful responses about the monarchy's future. Comment sections filled with support, with people expressing excitement about William eventually becoming king, with genuine affection for a man who seems determined to honor his duty while remaining grounded and human. Meghan's social media presence, by contrast, has become a battlefield where even her most loyal supporters struggle to defend her against waves of criticism and mockery. Every post, every appearance, every rumored project gets dissected with a skepticism that borders on hostility. The comments are brutal, relentless, and apparently impossible for her team to control or counteract. Industry insiders suggest that Meghan has stopped reading comments altogether because the psychological toll became too damaging to endure. The perception problem extends beyond just numbers and online chatter. Sources reveal that Meghan is increasingly being portrayed in media coverage as the villain of this royal saga, while William gets cast as the responsible, mature figure trying to protect an institution from destructive forces. Fair or not, that narrative has solidified in the public consciousness to a degree that communications experts say is nearly impossible to reverse. Once the public decides who they're rooting for in a high-profile conflict, changing those allegiances requires extraordinary effort and often a level of humility that Meghan allegedly refuses to demonstrate. Royal experts and strategic communications specialists are watching this situation with intense fascination, trying to predict the next moves in what has become the most captivating royal drama in decades. The question everyone is asking is whether Meghan will launch some kind of counter-offensive to reclaim her narrative, or whether she has finally recognized that every time she fights back, she only makes the situation worse. Sources close to both camps reveal that the chess pieces are being carefully positioned for whatever comes next, and the stakes could not be higher for everyone involved. Insiders suggest that Meghan's team is developing multiple response strategies, each designed to address different scenarios depending on how public sentiment continues to evolve. One option allegedly involves a major tell-all interview where Meghan addresses the William situation directly, framing his recent comments as part of a long-standing pattern of exclusion and subtle hostility. The risk with this approach, communications experts warn, is that it could backfire spectacularly by making her look obsessed with a family she claims to have moved on from. The public appetite for more Sussex grievances appears to be completely exhausted. Another strategy reportedly being considered involves Meghan doubling down on her philanthropic and business ventures, essentially ignoring William completely and letting her work speak for itself. The theory here is that sustained success in Hollywood or the charity world could eventually shift public perception without requiring her to engage in more family drama. But sources close to the situation reveal that this approach faces serious obstacles, mainly because her projects keep stalling and the public interest just isn't there the way she hoped it would be. On William's side, palace insiders claim the strategy is beautifully simple. Keep doing exactly what he's been doing. Show up, do the work, speak thoughtfully when asked, and let the contrast between his approach and the Sussexes' approach speak for itself. He allegedly has no intention of directly addressing Meghan or Harry in future interviews, unless absolutely forced to, because he recognizes that silence and consistency are more powerful than engaging in public back and forth. His team reportedly believes that time is on their side, that every month that passes with William thriving and the Sussexes struggling only reinforces the narrative they want to establish. Behind the scenes, there are whispers about potential reconciliation efforts, though sources say these remain extremely tentative and unlikely to succeed in the near term. Some insiders suggest that Harry might eventually reach a breaking point where he chooses family over the constant conflict, but that would require him making decisions that could destroy his marriage. Others speculate that Meghan might eventually recognize that continuing this war is destroying whatever legacy she hoped to build, but her alleged pride and sense of victimhood make that kind of strategic retreat almost impossible to imagine. The most likely scenario, according to royal watchers who have studied this family for decades, is that the current Cold War simply continues indefinitely. William will keep rising, the Sussexes will keep struggling, and the public will keep choosing sides in a drama that shows no signs of resolution anytime soon. This moment represents far more than just another chapter in an ongoing family feud. Royal historians and palace insiders agree that William's interview and Meghan's alleged reaction mark a genuine turning point in how this story will ultimately be remembered and how the futures of everyone involved will unfold. The long game is being played here, and the strategies being employed by both sides reveal fundamentally different understandings of power, legacy, and what actually matters when the cameras stop rolling and history begins its judgment. William's approach, according to those who know him best, is built on patience and institutional strength that stretches back centuries. He allegedly understands that he doesn't need to win every news cycle or dominate every headline, because time itself is on his side. He will be king. That fact is unchangeable, inevitable, and grants him a kind of security that Meghan can never possess, no matter how many interviews she gives or projects she launches. His strategy reportedly involves simply being excellent at his role, letting the contrast between stability and chaos speak for itself, and trusting that the British public will ultimately support the institution over individuals who attacked it. Meghan's position, by contrast, requires urgency that sources say borders on desperation. She allegedly recognizes that her window for relevance is closing faster than she anticipated, that public interest in her story is waning, that the Hollywood dreams she chased are proving far more elusive than the royal platform she abandoned. Her need for vindication, for proof that leaving was the right choice, reportedly drives decisions that often backfire because they come from a place of reactive emotion rather than strategic thinking. She allegedly cannot play the long game because she doesn't have the luxury of time that William possesses. The implications for the monarchy itself are profound and far-reaching. Sources close to King Charles reveal that he watches this unfolding drama with a mixture of sadness and resignation, recognizing that the rift between his sons may never heal in his lifetime. But insiders also suggest that he takes some comfort in knowing that William possesses the temperament and judgment necessary to guide the institution through whatever challenges lie ahead. The monarchy will survive this family crisis, palace courtiers confidently predict, because William has proven he can rise above personal hurt to focus on duty and service. For Harry and Meghan, the future looks increasingly uncertain according to those tracking their trajectory. Their brand, their relevance, their ability to command attention and respect all seem to be declining at a rate that even their most optimistic supporters find alarming. The question that haunts them, insiders whisper, is what happens when the public completely stops caring about their grievances and their projects? What happens when they become footnotes in royal history rather than the main characters they believed themselves to be? William's interview may have seemed like just another media appearance, but sources close to the palace say it represented something much more significant. It was a declaration that the future of the monarchy will be defined by those who stayed and served, not by those who left and complained. And that message, whether Meghan wants to accept it or not, appears to be resonating with the only audience that truly matters, the people. So where does this leave Meghan and the Sussexes? As William continues his ascent, can she ever reclaim the spotlight she allegedly believes was stolen? Or has she already lost a war she didn't fully understand she was fighting? Drop your thoughts below. Like and subscribe because you won't believe what's coming next. The drama is far from over, and the next video is waiting with revelations that will leave you absolutely stunned.